What lurks in the symbolics labs? I didn't think they know that bollocks means your nads, do they? This is Pratt's Son, the second issue from the 90s, and we have a cover with a derivative Hulk knockoff, and he is fighting Pratt's Son, and that doesn't happen in this issue. Not like this happens. But I tell you what, I have been doing some thinking, and Pratt's Son, he is a pretty good character. He had a fairly long life, and that is respectable, considering there is not really anything that sets him apart from other good new characters from the 90s who didn't have anywhere near the longevity that he did. Also, he has hair like mine for the first 10 or so issues before it grows and it becomes a mullet. This comic is rather weak. If there is one type of 90s bad guy I didn't have the patience for, it is armoured mercenaries with names like Flak or Hollow Point or Caliber with a Y, who you are meant to take more seriously because they have generic power armour, when in actual fact you would probably take them more seriously if they were just cold-blooded Black Ops mercenaries without stock power armour. These guys, they suck. And they have come to apprehend Pratt's Son because his superpowers have manifested, and they work for an evil lab devoted to the study of bollocks. First half of this comic is Pratt's Son fighting them and trying to escape from them. Pratt's Son, he is just enough to stop it from becoming totally boring. And there is one good bit where he does a superhero thing, where he acts like a proper superhero. You see, here he jumps out into a neighbour's garden, and there is two poolside babes, and you think it's the 90s, so what we're gonna have is Pratt's Son. He'll take time out of his day to say something like, "Alright," and do a Fonzie pose at the reader. But I was pleasantly surprised that amidst lousy fights with these lousy soldier boys, he was just outright courageous and heroic, and he told them and pleaded that they get away and save themselves while he tries to hold off the soldier boys. So then Pratt's Son, he is able to escape on a fat little boy's bike, but the evil bollock lab, they are fine with that because they have his parents held prisoner, so they think they can just get him to surrender and submit to them using his parents as bait. Now, feel free to strap in for a subplot that does not seem connected at all. We have Wonder Man from the Avengers, Simon Williams. What's he doing in a DC comic? Oh, he is going to be a red herring to Pratt's Son's parentage, and he's going to act as a mentor figure to the young hero. This character, he was a budget Superman wannabe from the young Stir Fries. He was meant to replace Superman in Golden Age stories and stories set during the war. He is the only one of them kind of cheap knockoffs that had any life beyond the young stir fries. I think this is one of them awful blood ties characters. The world's deadliest weapon himself. I hate it already. If you thought that I was being insincere or misleading by saying that the Hulk rip-off character, he is barely in this comic, and he definitely only shares a single panel with Pratt's son, I thought, let's be fair, let's count his appearances, let's count the amount of panels he is in. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is like his big appearance. He's in the Bollocks lab. He is one of their mutated monsters or experiments or whatever. And then what happens is Pratt's son, his foster parents, they are there too. And they have this superpower that isn't addressed, where they can just change colour. And then there is a sexy lady. And this is conflicting because she is really sexy. Can we agree she is really sexy? But she is also just the virtual body of this haggard crone who is hooked up to computers. But I think I have resolved this problem, because what I would do is I would shag her virtually, but I wouldn't shag her physically. So Pratt's son, he sneaks into the Bollocks lab, and there is five panels. That's it for our Hulk character. He is done. He meets Pratt's son for 1 panel. Then Pratt's son's foster father betrays Pratt's son because his parents are working for the lab and they were just raising Pratt's son until his powers surfaced. And even though he is not their biological son, he seems to have inherited their colour-changing powers up here. So then the main evil scientist, Dr. Bollocks, he executes both of Pratt's son's foster parents, since they didn't need them anymore now that they have Pratt's son. But Pratt's son, he is so ruddy angry that he fights back. And because it is Pratt's son, he does a big explosion. And we are left on that note. You will at least get to see Pratt's son fight the Hulk rip-off next issue. Lot of letters here. Every single one of them saying Pratt's son is original and the best character DC have done yet. I think most of them are lying, and they were just happy that they got sent advanced copies of the first issue. I didn't really recommend this one unless you are invested or interested in the Pratt's son character. I like the fella, and I did laugh at least 4 times that the evil lab has the word bollocks in it. FYI, for your information, bollocks is my favourite word of all time. I think it is the best word. It's great, isn't it? Bollocks. Bollock. Never mind the bollocks. Here is the bollocks. I didn't think this issue is anything special, but I didn't give it a proper bollocking, did I? Give it a look if you want. Didn't give it a look if you weren't going to give it a look anyway. I rate this 7 bollocks or